Good evening, and good evening. Or perhaps maybe it's good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on what part of the country you're at, or even what part of the world. I know we have folks attending from all sorts of places. I want to welcome everybody for the meeting after the meeting. Many of you were present, I hope, at the corporate nationwide presentation. And now we're going to switch over, maybe just a little bit different flavor, maybe a little bit different order, and perhaps maybe a few off slide, off script moments to talk about MWR. So, first of all, I want to welcome everybody and thank you for taking an additional 30 minutes out of your time, or maybe it's the first 30 minutes if you just got notified about this meeting. My name is Eric Wallner. I'm your host tonight. I'll be behind the slides, but I'll also be talking to you about an opportunity that I'm very, very excited to share with you. And it's called MWR, which stands for Make Wealth Real. So consider tonight your exclusive VIP access, a little bit behind the scenes, but certainly a lot about the scene that's being created today by MWR Financial, a one of a kind, a category of one financial strategies company that is sweeping across the nation, available in all 50 states. And this is about a game changer that is about changing your financial future. You see, the truth of the matter is, that over 80% of Americans in the wealthiest country in the world go to work every day, putting in 40 hours a week, 40 plus years of their life, only to retire on about 40% of the income that they weren't quite making it on while they were working. And today, and that's backed up by Social Security statistics. Every year, Social Security publishes their statistics about Social Security and what they pay out. And did you know that the maximum Social Security check today is $4,000? That's the maximum you can get. Hardly what I call a golden years and golden retirement. But here's the more disturbing truth is that the average check, what most people are receiving today, is a little bit north of $1,600 a month. Okay. When the average rent across America is at $2,000, how do you pay for food? How do you pay for electricity, utilities, internet, phones, and all that stuff? And that's why, unfortunately, 80% of Americans retire financially dependent, not only on Social Security, but many times on family, friends, and other organizations. And so, like I said, it's not necessarily their fault, right? It's not that we didn't follow the instructions, which was to go to school, right? Get good grades and then get a good, safe, and secure job. But that's unfortunately not what's happening. And that's also not what's creating the financial freedom that most people want. And so what ends up happening? Well, the story is actually very difficult. Most hardworking people are doing everything right, right? They followed the go to school, get good grades, find a safe and secure job, and the company will take care of you. Well, that may have worked back in the early 1900s during the industrial age, where people actually did go to one company and work there for their entire careers and then got a pension. But pensions went by the way, of the old-fashioned cars, and people are still falling behind. And here's the problem, right? Number one is that they're stuck trading their time for money. And I don't care whether you're trading it in the form of a salary that you get for putting in your time, whether it's an hourly wage, even if it's a commission, you're trading hours for dollars. If you're not working, you're not earning. And the second thing is inflation, which used to be called the silent killer, but inflation steals people's purchasing power. Inflation makes the money that you make worth less. And then, of course, is taxes, debt, big banks, finance companies, and the banks, which are always winning first, right? Too big to fail and never seem to go out of style, have the nicest buildings on every corner, and for the privilege of you putting your money in their safes, they pay you 0 point nothing while they go out and then relend the money and make all the money themselves. So for that reason, retirement is very uncertain. And unlike when we were in school, where we got quizzes and tests and grades on a regular basis, monthly, quarterly, and definitely annually, we found out whether we passed or failed every single year. But once you become an adult and you're out there in the working world, where's the report card? Is it your bank account? Is it your stock statement? Or is it the one that you get at the very end, that social security check? The bottom line is that people don't know how to manage their money. It's not taught in school and it's not by accident. Otherwise, our country is about to celebrate its 250th birthday anniversary, and yet basic finances aren't being taught regularly at the grade level, not even well in the college. They teach you how to manage a business, but not how to manage your personal finances. And that, my friends, believe it or not, I believe is on purpose. And Washington is in on it, Wall Street is in on it, and most people are not. So if the system that they were taught worked, wouldn't more people be financially free right now? Think about that very pointed question. Now, here's the hard truth. Number one, people are working harder and harder. And that is not the answer, right? Because there's only so many hours. And when you're trading hours for dollar, you might trade at a higher level, but you still have a finite number of hours that you can work. Saving more doesn't work. And I talk about this on my radio show all the time. You don't save your way to financial freedom. You have to invest your way to get there. You need to speed up the process. Savings takes too long. Traditional investing, oftentimes when it's done for the masses, takes decades, right? They give you what, 3% interest rates. They give you 4% CD rates. They give you 6% investment rates. And that's when the stock market doesn't take it all back from you. Most people are less than $1,000 away or one emergency away from financial disaster. And the real problem is an effort. And the real problem isn't even the system. The system is clearly laid out and the rules of the game are available. They're just not publicized. And that's where most people are never taught about money or how to make money work for them. And that's really it. And make the system work for them as well. So here's what people really want. If you really were to boil it down, it's not just the money that's the problem. And in a minute, I'm going to talk to you what I call the Costco of finances. Everybody loves Costco. You save tons of money. It's a fun place to go see things, learn about things. But what people are really looking for today is for time freedom, right? The ability to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, and best of all, with whom you want to do it. People want to know that they have predictable income. We're going to talk about that and the three types of income that there really are. They want peace of mind. They don't want to stress that there's not enough money coming in to pay the bills that have to go out. And it's the ability at the bottom, at the end of the day, to be able to work on your own life terms. And so here's the question I really want to ask you. So, imagine building wealth without having to work more hours in order to make more money, without having to put your life savings or anything, take massive risks, and without sacrificing your current lifestyle. Because after all, the most important things in life are family, right? Our church, our community. What if we could build wealth and put the money game, behind this, get on top of that game without using your existing income, without waiting for decades, slowly building up those savings, waiting for them to be significant enough to compound and mean enough. And most of all, without having to go back to school and become a financial expert. What if you could make the system work for you, make the money work for you, the same way it works for wealthy families and institutions that the money game and the system was designed for? And that's what we're here for to talk about tonight. Most wealth plans that are publicly or even shared out there that people know about require more money. Okay. The old saying, it takes money to make money, which is really not true. Okay. We're going to talk to you about how you don't need to drain your savings, put it at risk. No financial expertise is needed. I'm not going to ask you today to go out and get a second job. I'm not going to ask you to guess or do it yourself strategies that you have to go figure it out on your own. MWR, which I like to affectionately call the Costco of money, is an expert driven system, and the system that is self-funding. And what does that mean? Well, let's talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about a system where we start to find money where it already is. Okay. And that's really not that hard. We use three methods to do that. Number one, we reclaim the money you're already spending. After all, right? You're making a living right now in some form or fashion. And whether it's, like I said, salary, hours per dollar, or whether it's coming in from commissions, you have money coming in. The only problem is that you're giving too much of it away to the government, to taxes, to debt, pay interest, finance charges. So we're going to talk to you about shifting. And we're going to talk about how to earn with that savings. The money that we clawed back from governments and big banks is now going to create new, immediate, and more importantly, residual income down the road. And then finally, number three is that we're going to leverage that. And you see, leverage is the turbo on the engine, right? We're going to tune up the engine by shifting the income. We're going to rev up that engine and actually now have more fuel to earn. But the real advantage comes from using the leverage to accelerate what we're doing in advance. And so let's talk a little bit about how to do that. Well, this is where MWR comes in, America's premier financial strategies company. It is in a category of one. It is the only lifestyle and legacy company of its kind. The mission from the CEO, the visionary who founded the company back in 2017, his vision was to create more financially independent, financially stable families than any other company ever has in history. Big and bold are the goals, but let's take a look at how we do that. First of all, as I mentioned, this is like the Costco of finances. And the Costco of finances, the reason that you have a Costco membership, in fact, I have a friend who has a Costco membership, a BJ's membership, and a Sam's Club membership. And I ask him, why do you have all three memberships? And he says, because they're worth it. I save way more money than the cost of the membership. Yes, I have to pay to go shop at those places, but what I pay is so much smaller than the benefits that I get. And same here with MWR. We're going to talk about shifting your money back to you. We have experts in all areas of finance that help you to shift your money. Shift your money. For example, we have tax CPAs, IRS enrolled agents that help you shift your money, the one that you're giving to the government in the form of tax. In fact, you're not giving it, they're taking it from you right off the top. And then there's the banks that are charging you for the privilege of putting your money in the bank, are charging you for the ability to borrow for cars, for houses, for boats, and everything else. And then, of course, big business, every holiday. We just got done with President's Day, right? And what do? They sell mattresses and furniture and TVs. We got done not even a week before that was Valentine's Day, where we spend tons of money to do the right thing according to the marketing messages that are out there. We're going to show you with experts, expert advice, experts that would cost you far more than the cost of membership just for 1 hour of their time. And they're going to show you how to create savings from debt elimination, from tax reduction, from bill negotiation, from credit restoration, very important part. And I'm going to talk more about that as well. Healthcare reduction. Who wouldn't like to save money on their healthcare? Big conversation, big debate in Congress right now. And then there's just the savings on our daily, everyday purchases, restaurants, groceries, the things that we buy every day. You see, this is a membership that doesn't save you a few dollars here and there. Our average member savings ranges anywhere from $700 on the low side to over $2,000. And by the way, that's per month. Now, of course, individual results may vary, but I will tell you that the more you use this membership, the more you will save, earn, and then be able to leverage. And here's the best part, right? It's not you, it's not me doing this, it's our experts. They do the work, they help you, and you enjoy the results. So there's three types of income in the world. And I talk about this every single day on my radio show because I wish I had learned this a lot earlier in my life. I learned about getting a job. I learned about making money. I learned about commission sales. I learned about investing in real estate. That's what I do. And the reason that I invested in real estate, because I saw that I could earn money on investments while I slept. But I wasn't clear. I didn't know. No one taught me that there's three types of income. There's active income. That's the one that everyone starts out with. Hours for dollars, going to work, whether, like I said, any of those three ways that you make the money. But the bottom line is that when you stop working, it stops earning. Then there's semi-active income. And that's where you can leverage others through a business, through an agency. There's lots of different ways that you can build a team and, or build partners in investments that allow you to have multiple streams of income. Then there's the third type of income, which is the best, and that is passive income. Passive income is the income that comes in regardless of whether I show up or work that day. It comes in every single month consistently, reliably, dependably. And ultimately, in order to retire, if you really think about it, until you have enough passive income. Now, for most people, Social Security is the only passive income that they have. They worked 40 plus years for it. And like I said, maximum $4,000. So you're capped there. The average Social Security check is $1,600 and you're handicapped there. So let's talk about earning multiple streams of income, paid daily, and simply by referring others. Now, this is where we start shifting from that active income that it all depends on me to semi-active. And have you ever referred a restaurant to somebody? Have you ever shared a great movie with somebody? Have you ever shared a great experience, a service, a doctor, a lawyer, a plumber, a roofer? We do that. And yet we don't get paid to do that. Today's technology allows us to be held responsible for the income generated and therefore get paid. Again, multiple streams of income. And let me just talk on it. I'm going to give you more details in just a second. But imagine building a company, not of hundreds or thousands, like the big corporation, but just a small group of individuals, team members, if you will. These team members, if you had 12 team members with MWR generating their efforts, you just get a small percentage of what their efforts are. Do you know that that can result in $600 a month? For most people, that's a good car payment, could even be a significant part of your mortgage payment. But what if those 12 people, then they start to go out and build their own teams? And now your team is a result of their efforts and now grew to 36 to 90 people. By no stretch of the imagination, a big company, but now you're netting more than $1,500 to $3,000 a month. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that might take care of your mortgage payment. Hopefully not your rent payment, because I hope you don't pay rent. And I'm going to talk about how MWR takes renters and turns them into homeowners, regardless of their credit standing, regardless of their down payment at the situation. MWR has a program called the Keys to Homeownership that meets its members where they are and then moves them along the path to homeownership. Now, I just want you to dream for a second. Imagine if 12 becomes 36, becomes 90, becomes 480. And P.S., that already exists. We're not imagining if you're already part of this company, but 480 team members now nets you over 6 figures a year in passive residual income. That's when you get to say goodbye, no more bosses. And we even have folks that are approaching the 6,000 team members mark that are close to generating close to $1 million a year. This is where now you can really dream. And see, what we're talking about is income that pays repeatedly for our members, you or your team. All they have to do is build one partner at a time. This is a business that builds slowly, or you can build it fast, but it compounds on the efforts and it goes on. And this, ladies and gentlemen, and you can see it done in insurance agencies and real estate companies and large corporations. They build a team, the team grows, and so does the income. The only problem is most of the time you don't own any part of that company. This is a way for you to build yourself, your own company in that way. So now let's talk about putting the turbo, right? We talked about shifting our income, and now we talked about earning additional income. How about if we talk a little bit about leverage, right? This is where we, with small hinges, swing big doors. And you see, the wealthy don't just use their own money in order to build wealth; they use other people's money. They do it in a way that is leveraging, multiplying what they involve in. And sometimes it's not even their money at all. It involves their efforts, their know-how, but not necessarily their money. MWR also has a very special product called our MWR Fundable 360 program. This program allows business owners, and whether you're starting your business brand new today, or if you, even better, if you have an ongoing and existing business, we're going to show you how to get a guaranteed minimum 50,000 investable dollars in guaranteed ongoing unsecured business funding. In fact, if you were to explore our MWR Fundable 360 program, you could literally generate a second credit profile, your personal, and we have our credit experts to help you build your personal credit. But we also have business credit experts that are going to show you how to build your business credit. And they are both separate and independent, requiring no collateral, requiring no personal guarantees, requiring no personal credit risk. Our program is recognized as the premier business funding system by Forbes magazine, Inc. 5000, the Entrepreneur magazine, and other sources as well. So you're going to want to find out more about that. Let's talk a little bit about where everything changes. Now, that imagine having experts, tax advisors, financial advisors, credit advisors, debt elimination advisors. What would you do next, right? What would that mean? Well, MWR has already built that infrastructure. That is designed to help you create the time freedom, get more control over your daily schedule, because you become your own boss once you start building that team. You create financial independence. And I'm not talking about Social Security. Social Security will become your gas money if you do this correctly. Residual and passive income that you can rely upon. And because of the experts that guide you every step of the way, imagine having all of those experts that often cost $150, $250, $350 an hour. You'll get faster results. You'll leverage the resources that you have into more resources that generate more resources. And it's the safest way to do it with guidance, mentorship. This is how you manage the risk, and this is how you get expert-driven results. And the beautiful thing about this, remember, this started back in 2017. You may not have heard about it before tonight when someone invited you to tonight's meeting, but you will, because this is not theory. It's a proven system that today there are people that are generating six-figure incomes on a regular basis. And the savings that I talked about, $700 to $2,000 per month in savings, that's already working for thousands of people all across the country. So what MWR has done is it has brought a lot of the little known financial strategies from Wall Street and Palm Beach Island to Main Street. MWR has created a unique way to grow your wealth that can outperform every single traditional wealth building strategy that you've seen before. Crypto, don't even talk to me about it. I don't invest in something that's here today, gone tomorrow, and in a highly manipulated market and stored in a place that could vanish overnight. Forex, that was the hot ticket. As a mortgage broker for over 25 years, I've seen people, and in fact, every time someone comes to me and when I ask them what they do for a living and they say they trade Forex or they're day traders, I start to roll my eyes, because 90% of those people do not make money. They don't even make money. Many people lose. Stocks, that's gambling, legalized gambling. There's not the steadiness. It's hard to build residual income. It takes time, and you got to be able to invest the money. And then you're putting your money in the hands of others for them to do what often suits them better than it does for you. The wealthy are making a lot of money. The hedge fund managers are making a lot of money. The hedge funds are making a lot of money. Why isn't America? You know, real estate for me has been the go-to investment for a long time in my career. It's been the go-to investment for the wealthy since the beginning of time, since kings. The more land that they controlled, the better their kingdom, the bigger, the more powerful, so that they could, create the wealth that created the armies that defended their areas. This last Monday was President's Day. And on my radio show, I decided to have fun with it. And I did a little bit of research. And do you know that George Washington was one of the most aggressive real estate investors, accumulating over 50,000 acres in his portfolio? The guy who's on your $1 bill, before he became president, was a real estate land surveyor. And when he saw and he understood that real estate equals financial independence, the only problem with real estate is it often takes a pretty significant investment to get in. Fortunately, for the property that you live in, we have a program called the Keys to Home Ownership that, regardless of your down payment, regardless of your credit situation, we're going to show you how to build home ownership, whether it's $1 at a time, 1 month at a time, but we'll get you there. Nowhere else is there a program that is like our Keys to Home Ownership. But we also have another way. If you're starting small, if you want to invest in another hard asset, you see, I'm a big believer in hard assets because hard assets are scarce. And as supply, that's called the population, continues to grow. Not even 100 years ago, we only had about 1 billion people on this planet. Today, we have over 8 billion, still competing for the same amount of land, still competing for the same amount of minerals. And the cool thing about this, MWR using experts can do this without the typical risks of not knowing, the headaches of stressing, or the special skills required to participate in a lot of these high level investments. We do it using one of the most trusted assets in history, right? You hear about it. In fact, I was shocked to hear that gold now is over $5,000. Silver now close to $100. And we can do that without using your own existing income. How do you do that, Eric? Let's talk about that. Introducing America's first and only precious metal income system. By the way, available exclusively to MWR members. And remember, I said that silver today is at about $100. Everyone can start investing with $100. And at MWR, precious metals aren't just a way to store value. Now it gets to be a lot like real estate. We can now put those precious metals to work to create a monthly income, a passive income, just like my tenants who month in, month out, go to work, earn a living, and then send a rent check to come in. Imagine if you could do that with precious metals. Well, imagine no more, because the precious metals in MWR's precious metal income system, your metals actively work to create consistent cash flow every single month. And you'll be amazed at the rates of return. Now, remember, rates fluctuate. There's no guarantee that the next month will be as good as this month or different from last month. But let me tell you a little bit about some of the high yield precious metal lease agreements that MWR has negotiated for its members. Now, normally, this program isn't brand new. We didn't just invent this. In fact, this is a 100 plus year old practice done by Wall Street firms. It's just not available to small income increments. MWR, thanks to the power of numbers of its membership, now allows you to get in, and this is for a limited time, by the way. Let me just say this up front, that you can invest as little as 1 ounce, all right, about $100 to get your investment portfolio started. And that 1 ounce also starts earning a passive income. If you've got more than $100, you can get more ounces and you can get more income. We have folks that are now already generating 5 and 6 figure annual incomes from this precious metals leasing program. Let me give you some examples here. Currently, they're paying around 2% per month on our precious metals leasing program. Think about that. That's 24% annually. not only do you get the income, but just like real estate, you benefit from the asset appreciation as the value of silver. And silver is very, very highly in demand. China has a shortage. There's several countries that have silver shortages, and you're going to see them drive up the price of silver because there's only so much in the ground. And the beautiful thing, like real estate, it's tangible, it's liquid. They're real assets that put you in the driver's seat that you own. All of this, by the way, without having the special expertise, because we have the experts, no headaches or stress. Remember, these are contractual lease agreements, no special skills required. Click to buy, click to earn, get paid. It's literally that simple, my friends. And so let me give you an example, okay? And this is comparing real estate. And I'm going to tell you, while this may not make look real estate great, real estate is a great investment, but these precious metals become more accessible to folks just starting out. And P.S., this is a real example of one of our current members, and this just happened. So this is not, some folklore that happened back once upon a time, but happened literally in the last 60 days. So in traditional real estate, $100,000, if you had $100,000 cash today to go purchase a modest 2 bedroom, 1 bath home, probably somewhere in the Midwest, because here in South Florida, you're never going to buy a house for $100,000. But here's the deal. Typically, that level house will get you an average rent of $850, $900 a month, $550 a month net. If you paid cash, remember, we're talking about a cash investment. The average annual appreciation documented for the last 5 years is about 8.8% for real estate. Not a bad return remember, on the big asset. And most people buy it with a little bit of a down payment. Costs, yes, there's costs. There's management costs, whether you do it yourself or whether you hire somebody. There's maintenance expenses because there's wear and tear. There's taxes, there's insurance. The bottom line, real estate, a great investment, does require capital. If you're not going to use all of your capital, requires credit and or expertise, right? Seasoned investors. On the other hand, our MWR precious metal leasing, and by the way, why not use precious metals to get to the point where you can invest in real estate as well? But instead, this gentleman used a $100,000 inheritance that he received to purchase 1,700 ounces of silver. From that 1,700 ounces, he's now earning $1,170 per month in rental income, residual income. The average appreciation over the same period for silver, ladies and gentlemen, from 2020 to 2025, we've had over 32.8, and it's been on the tear recently. And no maintenance, no headaches, no tenants and toilets. Simple again, click to buy, click to rent, get paid. You simply acknowledge and agree to the lease term while your silver is safely stored in our repository. So it's the real silver. It's not paper representations or derivatives. This is the metal. And you can start earning and stacking your earnings and start with just one simple ounce. So it's pretty clear that this is a very special program. Again, only to members in our membership here. It offers a faster, safer, smarter path to wealth. And so let's talk a little bit about what this really means, the whole picture. I talked about we have tax experts, we have investing experts, we have ways to invest all kinds of ways, from land banking to the silver program to our diversified cash flow account, our private reserve account. There's a flavor for every type of investor out there. But let's talk about the self-funding wealth system that we're describing here. Remember, we're going to shift first an average savings of $700 to $2,000 a month in savings from what you're already earning. We're going to claw that money back. And now we're going to start investing that money. We're also going to show you a very simple way that on a very easy part-time basis, to start earning an additional $150, $600, all the way up to $450,000 a month in residual income. Again, all by contract, all by a compensation plan that we can talk about at another time. But then we've shifted that money, we've earned more money, and now we get to put the turbo on, leverage that money, plus access to up to $50,000 in guaranteed. By the way, that business funding, what can you use it for? One of the most frequent questions. Anything you want. There's no strings attached to it. Now, remember, you're going to have to pay that money back. But we have folks that borrow that money, put it in the silver leasing, buy an asset with the $50,000, and the income that comes in from that is greater than the cost of our business funding. So they have a net profit. Again, leveraging well. What does that lead to? Freedom, right? The freedom to make your choices. Tangible assets you own that can appreciate and pay you passive monthly income all at the same time. Savings, income, funding, and assets all in one ecosystem. And like I say, I like to call it the Costco of finances because everything is available right there. So, Eric, tell me more about the membership. I'm glad you asked. Getting started is very, very simple. Number one, if you want to become a member, option one, you can join membership. There's no qualifications. There's no upfront application fees. There is simply a $159 a month cost. Okay. I'm going to call it an investment because remember, average savings of $700 to $2,000 a month. I'll ask any of you on tonight's call, would you trade $150 a month investment for $700 to $2,000 in savings every single month after month? And it doesn't take an MBA to figure that out. There's no contract, so there's no long-term commitments. You don't like what you're doing. If you think that it's not what it was promised to be, so first of all, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. There's no contracts locking you into anything. And by the way, that monthly fee includes a spouse in your household, a domestic partner at the same address, father, son, mother, daughter, two people. No explanation required. Two people for the price of one. And that's why it's such a dynamic membership. Remember, tax savings, financial planning, investments, our silver program, our keys to home ownership program. Or option number two, I talked about the ability to earn that residual income. And let me tell you how simple and easy this business is. And I will tell you that when this was presented to me, okay, almost 2 years ago, it took me about 5 New York seconds to decide that this made a lot of sense. Why? Because instead of $159 a month for a one-time $100 investment, plus the $159 a month and $159 a month thereafter. So it's only $259 to start. I had a 100% IRS compliant business in a box, website provided, accounting provided. By the way, all the experts that I need in a business already provided. I've got the back office tracking. I've got the technology. I've got the marketing material and a boatload of training to get you there. So option two for me made a lot of sense, not only because I saw it was a very good business, in the conversation that everybody has every single day. Who doesn't talk about money every single day? Did you see the price of gas today? It went up, it went down. Did you see the cost of eggs at the supermarket? You know, inflation, the government, they're talking about raising interest rates, lowering interest rates. When's the Fed going to meet? Finances is a daily conversation, and this membership sits right in the middle of that conversation. And I have clients, when I sell real estate to somebody, they can use every one of these services. Many of them need it. Many of them need it to be able to buy a house because they don't have the credit. Our membership fixes your credit while you're a member. In fact, this company does better. Not only will they fix your credit while you're a member, it'll put you in the house before your credit is fixed. It will get you home ownership. It will get you better credit, better finances, better financial literacy. And allow you simply by referring. That's all you're doing. You're not doing the service. You're not lifting a finger as far as people's finances. All you're doing, like you told somebody about a great movie, a great show, a great plumber, a great roofer, whatever the case may be, a doctor, you would share that because the service or the product was good. Well, when you try out MWR, that's why the first thing I tell people, whether you decide to be a member or a business owner, try the membership, use it, abuse it. I do. I use my MWR membership all of the time. I have a tax question. My client has a tax question. I says, I don't know, but I'll find out for you. And in 24 hours, without having to worry about my CPA's clock ticking, I have access to the top level. I've talked about forming, limited liability companies in other states with asset protection. I haven't been charged one extra dollar for all of those services. They need any kind of advice. I'm the go-to person. If you're a mortgage broker and you're a real estate agent and you don't have this membership, you're not playing with a full deck of cards. That's the bottom line. And simply by referring, every time that I refer somebody, I'm going to make some money that day because I get paid daily. And on top of that, I get a residual income from that ongoing membership. I have full access to all of the membership products and services and benefits, not to mention the business systems, which I described, the websites, all of the business, advice, the sites, the training, the support. So for a one-time $100, I honestly think, you can hear, I laugh because I think it is such a ridiculously low barrier to entry. And maybe that's why a lot of people, when they decide to start a business that doesn't cost them a lot of money, they don't put a lot of effort into it. But I will tell you that if you use this membership, you'll tell everybody about it every single day. You'll talk about it because the conversation of money comes up every single day. And that's why I want to invite you to join the MWR community. And what I want you to do is to get back with the person that invited you here tonight. Ask them the questions that you may have. Tell them that you want to, whether it's option one, I want to become a member. I want to take it for a 30-day test drive. If it doesn't work out, you've got a 30-day money back guarantee. But I'll tell you, when you start, and if you sincerely work the savings, do you know that MWR also gives you every month, and it's cumulative. They don't take it away at the end of the month. They give you $150 of savings every single month. So you start breaking even. But how about if I told you a way that you could have the membership? Forget the business for a second. Imagine having the membership, all of the benefits that I talked about, savings of $700 to $2,000 a month. And if I asked you, would you like that membership for free? Of course you would say yes, and you would say how. And I'll tell you, all you have to do is simply, as a member, not as a business owner, but as a member, refer 3 people that take the membership, and your membership is free. That's how confident MWR is in its services. And that's how easy it is to become financially advised, financially stocked, armed, and ready. Simply starting out at $159, find 3 people, and you have that service for free. Now, as a business owner, after the first 3, which also gets the business owner that money for free, so now they have a self-funded business, not just self-funded investments, but a self-funded business. And now they can go on and continue to keep telling people and keep getting paid on a daily basis and on a residual basis. And that's why we're so excited about MWR. I want to be, if you like the idea, start where you're comfortable, upgrade at any time. Remember, no contracts either way, no contracts holding you in and no contracts to hold you down. That's what this is all about. And like I said, you can make it free. You can make the business pay for itself. Just refer 3 members and your monthly membership is waived for as long as you maintain 3 active members. But I promise you, if you're using this service and you're having that daily conversation about money anyway, it's only a matter of time. And most people are doing it in days, maybe a couple of weeks, but it's not taking them years. And business owners, enroll 3 owners. Start building that team. Remember, a team of 12, $600 a month. A team of 3, $150 of recurring income a month. What other business can you buy? And I was about to say start, but what other business can you buy It's an ongoing, existing, structured, proven business for $100 upfront fee plus $150 a month. And then I showed you already how the business pays for itself plus a profit. So you probably were wondering, oh, this is one of those recruiting things. No, this is not about recruiting. Okay. You don't need to convince somebody to save money. It's about sharing something that makes the difference, that with the added benefit of having a business, remember, IRS compliant. So now you can start deducting your cell phone bill, your internet bill, your mileage, your conversations and lunches. Trust me, this is a 100% IRS compliant. I call it a business in a box. $250 gets you started today, earning in as short a period of time as you put in the effort, and it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of effort. So as I bring this in for a landing, there's a decision. And understand this, there's always a decision. The decision not to make a decision is a decision, and the results speak for themselves. But here, ask yourself these very poignant and key questions. A, can what I'm doing now outperform what I just heard, the MWR's wealth plan, without any risk? What investment strategies do you have now that are going to get you to a retirement income equal to or greater than what you're earning right now working full time? Number two, ask this question, and this one sometimes hurts. If nothing changes, okay, can I be financially free in 5 years or less? Ladies and gentlemen, as a real estate broker for over 30 years, mortgage broker for over 25 years, I know the work and the effort that it takes to get there. Most people, in fact, unfortunately, in the real estate business, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of the income is made by 20% of the active agents. 80% of the agents, right, make 20% of the income, and it's not enough. Real estate often doesn't offer retirement plans, 401ks, and all of the benefits. This is an asset for any real estate agent or mortgage broker or insurance agent for that matter. But here's the thing. You see right behind me, I have a symbol there. It's a coaching program that I started because now that I saw how MWR put this whole program together, I now saw how you can do your career in 5 years, not 40. Who set the rule that you have to work 40 years? I bet you big business and industry wanted you to believe that you needed to put in your time in order to get taken care of. But I think it's time, and America's waking up. Since the pandemic, people are looking right now. People are looking for something else, the ability to not have to make that commute to work, not have to sit in a cubicle every single day, not have to bow down to a boss, an unreasonable employment. If nothing changes, can I be financially free in 5 years or less? And today I showed you exactly how to do that. But if the answer to either one of those questions is no, isn't your decision already made? That's really the question. So the time, my friends, is now. There's no perfect time. The green lights are not all green. The traffic lights are not all green in a row at any time, right? And here's the thing. You've heard about the cost of waiting, the time value of money, the cost of waiting. Doing something later usually costs you more in time, money, and leverage, which you can't get back. You can't get that time back. And oftentimes, when you're trading hours for dollars, you can't get that money back either. You're either going to have to double up or leverage up. And that's really the bottom line. So if your decision is to join us, here's your next 3 steps. It's very simple. Number 1, contact your MWR director, the team leader that invited you to tonight's workshop. Get back with that director that shared with the information with you, and get any questions answered. But here's what I say: start. Okay. Number 2, choose your path. Decide whether membership, you want to go down that lane, or whether you want to do the business and the membership, if that's a better lane for you. Like I said, for me, it was very easy. $100 was not a game changer in the sense of an investment in a business, but it has become a game changer in the amount of people that I'm able to help. And number 3, plug into the system. Just like buying a gym membership and never showing up. It happens, right? People buy a gym membership, they're all excited. January, they're in there, every day, 3 times a week or whatever. And then by February, life is taking over, time is taking over. And then you start driving by the gym all the time and you're still paying for that gym membership. My good friend and business partner out in Los Angeles, California, we were talking when I used to live in California, and we joined the same gym several years apart, and we didn't know each other back then. And we were kidding around about how little we paid because we locked in. And by the way, when you lock in your membership, you lock it in. We locked in unbelievably low gym costs, right? Fernando pays, in fact, I was kidding around with him. I pay $74 a year for my gym membership, and I get all use of everything, all the weights, all the equipment, the sauna, the basketball courts, the pool, the jacuzzi, all of that. And I still get it. You couldn't run that stuff for a month, for a day on $74 that I pay a month. Well, I come to find out that Fernando is paying $8 a month. I mean, $8 a year, and I'm paying $74 a year. And I said, you know what? I'm going to call and I'm going to complain. Okay. And he says, I got something better for you, Eric. And then here comes, the boot upside the head. He goes, the truth is that I have a membership that doesn't cost me any money. In fact, it's a membership that pays me. And I said, really? What membership is that? And he goes, MWR, my friend. And I had to, just laugh. And I go, man, sometimes the acres of diamonds are right below your feet. So on that note, I want to wrap it up. I'm going to pass the baton over to my good friend, Mr. Fernando Ramirez. You got me.
Eric, thank you so much for allowing us your space tonight. I mean, we feel honored to work alongside with you. Your real estate show is amazing. I never miss it. Every time I get up early in the morning, I'm always watching the real estate show. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to give you back your time with your family. So get back to the person that invited you tonight and let them know that you are ready to get started. As a matter of fact, I put my testimonial here in the chat for everybody to take a look at. My wife and I really enjoy time freedom. We're average folks. We come from average backgrounds. We're not highly educated. We just have a passion to help other people. And what we do is let the experts do the work and surround ourselves with amazing people like Eric Wilner, Lynn, Richard, Dr. G.W. Parker, Herschel. I mean, we got so many people that we can talk about tonight because we have become a community from different backgrounds, different walks of life with a mission, which is the mission to hand out the baton to you and your family so you can run with this incredible opportunity and leave a legacy. All right. On that note, if anybody wants to open up the camera and open up the microphone to say goodnight, thanks again, Eric, very much. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Awesome.
Great work. Great job.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Hey, Bishop.
How you doing, sir?
All right.
Bishop Sutton.
Yes. Who am I speaking with?
You see MWRBishop.com. Good night, everyone.
Spartans.
Cassandra. Where's Slim?
Good night, everybody.
Good night. There you are, Slim.
Yes, sir.
Right.